On to Dallas here. Start out with the injuries. So Andrew Thomas will not practice today. That is part of the plan. Making progress, hoping to get him out here the next 2 days and see where he's at the end of the week. Michael will not practice. He will not play in this game. He's got an injury. How long that is, still working through that, so no roster decision has been made on that. Wandell has an ankle. We'll lay off him today. He should be good. Dexter will not be here today. Congratulations to him and his wife. Went through labor and is with the baby and his wife. And Malik will be limited with his back, but should be okay. As far as Dallas, tough opening game with Philly. New head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, know him well, worked with him. Got a lot of respect for him as a coach and as a man. I thought they played well against Philly. New defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, feel the same way about Matt. I've had a good relationship with him working and outside the building. Think he's a heck of a coach. He's done a good job. They did a good job in the second half against Philly. Held Devontae 3 catches to 16, 1 for 8. Hurts did a good job moving around in the pocket, did a good job in the running game. He's a heck of a football coach. And Sorensen, special teams, have a relationship with him, been around him as a player. Let's start with their special teams. Aubrey and Turpin, they're point generators. Going to have to do a good job in that area of the field, or in that special teams area, with kickoffs, with punts, all hands on deck with Turpin. You go back and you watch him, he's a dynamic playmaker. They're using him some on offense as well. Quick, elusive. I mean, just go back to the kickoff return he had against Washington. It goes between his legs. He does a pirouette. He's a rare talent in that regard. And these new kickoff rules, he's going to be a challenge. Aubrey, 66. Anytime you get to midfield, it's a chance for points for those guys. So special teams will be critical. Offensively, I think Dak played really well his first game. Decisive. I think he's a heck of a quarterback as it is, but was accurate. I think Shotty had him in the flow. They did a good job of mixing in run, pass, controlling the line of scrimmage. 2 big guards inside. Pickens out there, you better be aware of him. Vertical threat. I wouldn't say had a ton of production the first game, but had opportunities and expect him to get more opportunities. Ferguson, tight end, I think he's good. Tough cover. And again, their offensive line, Booker, the new offensive guard they got, is thick, sturdy. Obviously, Smith's been a good player for a variety of years. So I thought they did well. They had the 1 turnover after the big play down there in the red zone. So good challenge there. And then defensively, again, they played good defense. They gave up 21 in the first half, then a field goal there in the next drive, but did a good job of stopping the run. I think they held Saquon to 3.3, 60-some yards. Again, did a good job against the receivers. Hurts made a couple Hurts plays, and that was the game, the turnover down in the red zone. But tough, physical team. I think, Shotty's obviously got an old man, God rest his soul, and Marty, who taught him a lot. I've been around Marty, one of 10 guys that have over 200 wins. And I think Brian is great opportunity for him, and a lot of respect for how they played the first game. So be a good challenge for us on the road in Dallas, and we're going to have to be at our best.
In that game, Coach, a quarterback that you're familiar with, Jalen Hurts, had good success against their defense, ran it in for 2 rushing touchdowns. What are you seeing specifically in their defense that makes the battle in the trenches, what your guys are trying to do in the gaps and things ultimately for Russ either more favorable or challenging?
Well, Hurts, he did. Hurts things. They were passes. They weren't necessarily quarterback runs. They had good coverage, and he made 2 really good plays on quarterback scrambles. They play a lot of zone defense, usually with an extra guy in the box for the running game. They play fast. They didn't have any turnovers. And I know the hallmark of a Coach Eberflus defense is to create turnovers with the style of defense that they play. And we're going to have to do a good job of taking care of the ball. It was pretty clean in that game minus the one fumble that they had that really was the difference in the game. But two good inside players, tough to block. Kenny's been a good addition. He's been a good player for the Packers for a long time, and he showed up. He's a tough guy to block in the interior part of the field. So we're gonna have to play a good, smart, tough game. Play good in situations. They played well. It was right down to the end there.
Knowing that they
What do you
didn't
think?
stuff the box, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
how do you want Russ to be better in the face of pressure?
Well, I think that takes everybody. It takes all 11. So players, coaches, we just could keep on improving. And we got to do a good job on early downs to make sure that we're keeping the defense in conflict as much as we can.
Dave, with Andrew now, is it just about trying to find the right combination for him in the given week to get him ready physically to see how he's responding? Because last week you obviously had a different combination of Wednesday, off Thursday, practice Friday.
Well, I think the trainers have, they have the plan of how we're rehabbing Andrew, and today is one of these days they're going to run him and do some things. I know he feels better. He felt better last week. He feels better this week than he did the week before. We'll see where he's at. I don't want to speak one thing but he's making good progress. We'll see where he's at after Friday. But this was just part of the rehab plan relative to this Wednesday workday.
You said that Jackson Hearn being QB2, there's been so much talk about when he'll be ready to play. Obviously, you put him in that role, he's ready to play because if Russ gets hurt on the first play. So how did you determine that he is ready for that role?
Well, he had a good camp, Dan. He had a good preseason. Again, for young quarterbacks, you're going to see a variety of things when you first start playing that you need to learn from. But again, every kind of checkpoint we've had for him in his process, albeit only a couple months with us, he's done a good job with. So we'll continue to work with him, do the things we need to do. I mean, he's a tireless worker, I'd say, in the classroom, and then outside too. He's going through tons of plays, both mentally and then physically, throughout practice and after practice.
He remains your number 2 quarterback.
Yeah, he'll be our number 2 quarterback.
Was there anything that he took away from Sunday? Obviously, he didn't play, but just the experience and being there and being ready. Did you? I mean, was that a checkpoint for you?
Well, this is his first regular season game to be part of, so he's got to be ready. He's got to see the game through the quarterback's eyes on the sideline. He's got to be involved in the communication. Again, it's just each day we're trying to groom him, and when he has to play, then he's be ready to play. But as a young quarterback, there's so many different things that you're going to have to go through. There'll be ups and downs, but in terms of the process that we're doing with him, each day he does a little bit better. Meetings, protections, show team. So we'll continue to do that.
Brian, the vast majority of analytical sites aren't particularly kind to John Michael. Kind of paint a picture of a player that's really been struggling the last couple of years. What do you see that gives you the confidence in him that maybe strays from what some of those metrics may indicate?
John Michael is tough. He's smart. He does a good job of getting everything set up for the offensive lineman, and I think he's a strong player. He's tough. He's a finisher, and I think he's done a nice job for us. Are there plays that he wishes he had back? Sure. Just like every player, just like every coach. But I have confidence in John Michael as our center.
Darius filled in for Micah.
One more time.
Darius.
Darius. Okay.
Filled in for Micah when he went down. So I'm curious, just if he is called on to fill that role, how much does starting those games last year help him be prepared for maybe a bigger role?
That'd be a good question for Darius. Again, he's a smart player for us. He's played a number of spots, I would say. Intelligent player, and that's a job of quote unquote a backup, is to be ready to go when your number's called. And he's done a nice job for us in that regard.
With Malik, how much is this something that you're going to have to manage moving forward? Is this going to be like a regular thing of giving him rest on Wednesdays or Fridays or whatever it may be?
Well, he'll be out there practicing. Maybe we'll pull back a couple reps here or there, but he'll be in full pads and he'll be practicing. I think it's, I can't give you that answer, Jordan. We'll see where he is after a Wednesday practice or after a game. and then we'll do what we think is best for Malik and for our football team.
How do you feel after the game?
That'd be a good question for Malik. He's out here. He's out here practicing, so he feels good enough to practice. But again, it's relative to the reps and what we need to do. We'll do what we think is best for him and for us.
Russ has seen pretty much everything in the league so far. This is your first game with him. How do you think he handled the pressure, as far as keeping his eyes down the field and things like that?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to get too much into last week. We're moving on to this week. We go through our tape on Monday. We make our corrections in all facets, and I expect him to come out here and have a good week. Sorry, Charlotte, go ahead.
No, it's okay. With Jackson, how much are you sitting and kind of watching the film with him, especially when he's not playing, like just kind of pointing through things?
Yeah, I meet with him every week, and we go through a number of plays that he runs on the show team, and there's a lot of good learning examples from that. You try to play that like a game the best you can with your timing, with your rhythm, with your eye control, with your mechanics, with when to take off, when not to take off. You treat those show team reps, if you will, like game reps. And then when you're standing behind the offense when they're going, he's taking game reps on every play, along with Jameis. And they're back there 10 yards, going through the mechanics, motions, shift, protection calls, re-identifications. They're playing the game, not with the 10 other guys, but they're playing it behind the huddle and taking advantage of every opportunity they can.
Two more.
Yeah, he gets show team. If we mix him in once in a while on the first unit, we mix him in, but he spends a lot of time going through the script and going through the plays and keeping guys after practice and working through an entire script and throwing live balls. That's just the plan we have for him.
Brian, it's been 9 years since
The mixing
It's been
in.
9 years since the Giants won in Dallas. Obviously, you're not here for all that, but is there anything particularly about that place that makes it such a difficult place to play?
Yeah, I'd say we're focused on this year with the guys that we have to go out there and play as well as we can.
Is the mixing in part of like your development plan for Dart or for Jackson, or is that just like you're doing it for game prep?
Yeah, we're doing it because we think it's best for our football team. I wouldn't say it's a lot, Charlotte. Maybe it was 1 or 2 reps last week, but he's taking every rep behind. But he stays out here, I would say, after practice and goes through entire scripts and plays with the entire unit, along with Jameis.
Those 1 or 2 reps is kind of what you did last year with the other guys, with your backups.
Yeah, I think it changes. I mean, again, it was a couple plays here or there. It might have only been 1 last week. But whether it's in a walkthrough, whether it's at practice, we do what we think is best.
If I may.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Russ talks a lot about leadership and being right between the ears. What stood out to you after facing some early adversity about his leadership so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's been through a variety of situations in his career, as a lot of the guys that we've brought on are. So you go through, again, you make the corrections, whatever we can do better collectively, and focus on this week, and that's where his mind's at.